Hi everybody, my name is Gian Fortunato. I'm a senior public health student at San Diego State University. This past winter break, I traveled to Costa Rica to volunteer for childcare, and I made a special video to share with you guys my experiences and the take-home messages and lessons that I've learned while volunteering there. Hope you guys enjoy it! My trip to Costa Rica was truly amazing and very memorable. It reminded me so much of my birth country, the Philippines, so to me it felt so much like home. The weather, the roads, the structure of the houses and buildings, and also the luscious plants and trees everywhere were very similar. We stayed in San Jose, the country's capital, to volunteer for Maximo Novel, a study abroad organization. There we did the holiday project and childcare for 2 weeks. The city was small compared to San Diego in the US where I lived. There were very narrow roads and streets, the houses and buildings were small too, and most were connected to each other. Even though the city was considered the biggest city in Costa Rica, heavy traffic and overcrowding were so very prominent. The residents usually recommend to walk rather than to take the bus because it is faster. I actually like it that way because I get to explore and observe my surroundings more, and also it was a good way to exercise. There were luscious trees and plants everywhere too, and as we passed by the streets, we would encounter creeks with flowing water, and there were a lot of fruit-bearing trees like plantain trees, coconut trees, mango trees, and many more. It is very close to nature, which I love the most. Costa Rica is also known for their coffee. I learned from our tour that the higher the altitude, the better the taste of the coffee. Isn't that cool? Also, I learned that the children start to drink coffee at a very young age too, as young as 6 months old. One may think that why in the world would they feed caffeine to a baby? In the US, it is definitely unnecessary due to its possible side effects on children. But in Costa Rica, it is in fact their culture, their normal lifestyle, and their upbringing. On the other side, I was also appalled by the air pollution in the city. Since we relied on public transportation, we noticed that mostly all the vehicles, especially the buses, were smoke belching. It was really hard to breathe freely because of the overwhelming smell of smoke and fumes. Long-term inhalation of such can lead to serious health problems to people. With that in mind, I made sure to bring small towel with me every time I went outside. From then, I realized to not take advantage of the clean air that we have in the US. But what I really liked the most was how genuine and helpful the people are. They were the truly kindest and most helpful people I have met. Although there was a huge language barrier between us, it didn't stop us from communicating well. It taught me on how to read body languages even better than before, and I learned how to trust strangers and of course, my instincts better. It is also very important and very helpful to know even just the basic words of their language, which is Spanish. You don't really have to be pro with it, but you gotta try your best. One fun fact I've learned during our orientation was that Costa Rica doesn't really have an army. Because of that, fundings become more focused on education and healthcare. Everyone has a free access to healthcare and education. However, there were also downsides to it. I saw from passing by a hospital one day that the waiting lines were super long and there were even people waiting outside. Another thing I liked about Costa Rica was that their tap water was very safe to drink. Unlike in the US, where it is very common to drink from a water bottle rather than tap water. The food there was also great and the drinks were always made natural, actually in front of you. I noticed that they only have smaller servings of meals compared to the servings in the US, which is usually big, and they always contain nutritious foods like beans and plantains. Our meals every day consist of either one of the two or both of them together in a plate. At first I questioned why I never got full after every meal. But later on, I got used to it and I actually like it better that way because it prevents me from overfeeding and taking excess calories that could turn into unwanted fats. Our very first project was at La Carpio. It is considered the poorest, most dangerous, and highly polluted area in Costa Rica, as it is next to the city's landfill. Aside from that, the population there was huge and it still continues to grow. It got me really concerned for the health of the residents, as I saw the vast amount of garbage that surrounds the area. It was sickening to see in person, especially that there were a lot of children in the area. However, volunteering there was a huge pleasure because I saw how happy and thankful the kids were. We volunteered to paint the ground of a neighborhood for the kids to play. We painted a soccer field, a hopscotch, a foursquare, and also a twister, which they loved. While I was watching them play outside, it reminded me so much of my own childhood, playing outside with my own friends, getting dirty but having the best times of my life, and having to know everybody in the neighborhood. Their lifestyle is so much different from the kids in the US, who most of them rely on electronic devices for entertainment. The kids there may not have enough tangible or luxurious items, but they have each other. They actually taught me how to become humbler and how to value a simpler lifestyle. The Sonrisas daycare was our last volunteer location. There we did childcare where we played with children, helped feed them, do arts and crafts with them, and also put them to nap. The daycare is located in yet another poverty-stricken area in Costa Rica. The daycare is run by government and is free to everyone close to the location. It is somehow similar to the US, where there are also school and daycares for free. The daily routines are also very similar. It was heart-melting to witness such an amazing connection the students have with their teachers, and I am very thankful to experience all of it too. Seeing those kinds of acts gives me a much better hope for the future generations. Pura vida, it means pure life or simple life, but in Costa Rica it is more than just a saying, it is a way of life. It's true, Costa Rica was definitely a great escape from my busy life in the US, because life there is simple, serene, and I felt like home. In that 2 weeks, I didn't only build a strong relationship with my friends, we built a sisterhood with experiences that could never be replaced, and most importantly, I made a new family. My host family were very sweet, caring, and very fun to talk with. It was very hard to leave because we became so close to each other, especially with our host sister Sophie, who treated us like her real sisters. I learned a lot from my volunteer in Costa Rica. I learned to appreciate all my blessings even more, especially when I think about the children in the communities where I volunteered. I learned to be content with what I have and to share them to those in need. I am thankful for Maximo Novel, our study abroad organization, for taking good care of us, for guiding us, for opening our eyes to the reality, and for letting us witness and experience to volunteer in the communities whose voices were usually unheard. I will forever treasure these knowledge and experiences, and I promise to contribute whatever I can to help.